Hello everyone, today I will be showing you how to make a lavender syrup. I have always loved the scent of lavender, and a few years ago I have also tried homemade lavender lemonade, and since then I wanted to make this syrup. You can also use this recipe for other herbal syrups. We also use this recipe for elderflower syrup and mint syrup, and it's really nice. And I just like to put disclaimer here at first. Before consuming this, make sure you are not allergic to lavender or any other ingredient that is contained in this syrup, or any other syrups you might make using this recipe. And now, without further talking, let's get to the recipe. You will need lavender flowers. It's an optional amount, however, I would suggest you get at least a handful. Then sugar, preferably brown, but white is just as good. I used white for my recipe today because I didn't have any brown one. I used 1 kilogram of sugar, but it directly depends on the amount of water you will end up with. I will talk about this more in a sec, but in general it goes, you will need 1.5 kilogram of sugar for 1 liter of liquid, and you can do your math depending on what amount you have. Then you will need citric acid. I used 1 teaspoon, like 1 full teaspoon, but it is mostly used to taste, so there is no strict amount you should use, but I would suggest at least 1 teaspoon. And of course, the more liquid you have, the more sugar you have, and the more citric acid you should use. You can also taste the syrup when adding the citric acid and determine whether it's okay or you want it more sour. Then you will need clean and sterilized bottles with lock cap, and I can't stress enough that they really have to be sterilized because your syrup will go bad if they are not sterilized. You can just sterilize them with boiling water. And why specifically lock caps? Well, it's because the heat from the syrup sucks the caps in and it helps to conserve the syrup. So that's why lock caps. You can use different type of caps, but I would suggest these ones. You will need a pot for cooking. The pot should be bigger than the amount of lavender liquid you end up with. Then you will need cleaned ladle, cleaned funnel, and also a glass jar. The glass jar should be as big as you need to contain all of your lavender flower. And preferably when filled, the glass jar should be full, like there shouldn't be a lot of empty space, because the flowers just release the taste better that way. And then of course you will need water, cold or room temperature will do. You want to harvest your lavender when the sun is up and flowers are in full bloom. After you bring your lavender home, cut the stems, because the stems can make your syrup bitter. So you want to use just flowers. Don't rinse them, don't clean them, just as they are, use them. Put your flowers in a jar and pour enough water so the flowers are fully submerged. Cover the jar with some kind of cloth and let this sit for 20 to 24 hours, but it shouldn't be more since it can go bad and sour, so max 24 hours. The next day, strain the water and measure how much liquid did you get. I ended up with 650 milliliters, as you can also see in the video. Pour water in your cooking pot and add required amount of sugar. For me it was 1 kilogram. On high heat, while stirring still, bring this mixture to the boil and let the sugar dissolve completely. Once it's boiling and the sugar is completely dissolved, you want to add your citric acid. However, beware and add your amount slowly because it can easily fizz out of the pot, and yeah, it's not fun. Stir and you will see how your syrup is clearing up and maybe even changing color. Once the citric acid is completely dissolved, you may pour your syrup. I suggest you put your pot on low heat, and while it's still boiling, you will use ladle and a funnel to fill the bottles. Close the bottles properly and let cool down in room temperature. So, this was the recipe. As you can see, it was really easy and the syrup is really good. Tell me in the comments if you will be trying making this syrup, and if you do, perhaps tell me how you liked it. I will also put a written recipe in the description in case you want to save it or just check it out written at once. And hopefully I will see you in my next video soon. Have a nice day!